Hello boys and girls, welcome to this presentation.
My name is Mr. Mohamed Eljaroshi, and I'm gonna be your English teacher.
Today we're gonna talk about Unit 1, Lesson 5, page 14, Embarrassing Moments. Question A. Look at the pictures on page 15 and try to guess the stories. Let's check page 15. We have this picture. Now let's look at picture number 1. What do you see here? Very good. We have two females or two women. One of them spilled the mug on her clothes, and the other one is looking at her. They look like each other. Maybe they're sisters. Maybe they are like mother and daughter. Very good. Now let's go to the next picture. What do you see in this picture? Very good. A girl, I think she bumped her head or her eye into something, and now she has like a black eye. This man is looking at her. Maybe he's worried. Now let's go back to the question on the first page. Yes. Question B. Now read the sentences and number them in order. Let's look at the sentences, read them, and put them in order. Now before we start, let's read this note. The first sentence and the last sentence in the stories are in the correct place. Just for fun, we have put the other sentences in the wrong order. Can you work out the stories? Now, as you see, we have sentences here. We have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now A and G are in the right place. So A is the first one and G is the last one. Now you have to look at the other sentences and put them in order. You can stop the video to do that. And then we will go back and answer them together. Now let's check the answers. Which one do you think is number 2? Very good. Number 2 is F. Number 2 is F. Very good. As they said that number 1 is A and the last one is G. We will finish and then put the number for G. Now let's read the first sentence. One day last week, my mom and I were out shopping in town. Number 2, we were looking for a present for my uncle, so we went to a gift shop. Now, which one do you think is number 3? Very good. E. Let's read it together. Mom saw a really nice mug on the shelf. Very good. Now, number 4 is what? Very good. B. Let's read it together. That's nice, she said. Your uncle will like that. He drinks lots of tea. Now number 5. Very good. D. I picked it up to look at the price and spilled hot coffee all over my dress. So the coffee has a lot of... the mug has coffee inside of it. It's not for sale. So what's next? Very good. C. It was the shop assistant's own mug. And the last sentence is G. I was so embarrassed that I nearly died. Very good. Now let's look at the second story. As they said, number 1 is answered, and the last one, which is H, is the last. Okay? This is number 8. Now you have to read the ones in the middle and put them in order. You can stop the video to do that. Now let's check together. Let's read the story from the beginning. Last week, my dad took my sister and me to the museum. Which one do you think is number 2? Very good. G. We were looking at an old car and I wanted to ask Dad something. What about number 3? Which one do you think it is? Very good. B. I turned around, but he wasn't there. And number 4 is? Very good. E. Dad, Dad, I shouted. I was worried. The next one? Very good. C. Suddenly I saw him and ran towards him. Number 6. Very good. D. Bang! I ran into a big mirror. And number 7 is F. I still have a black eye. And the last one is I feel embarrassed every time I go out. Very good. Now let's go back to the first page and read this grammar box. This grammar box is talking about making references. Making references by using the pronouns. The main pronouns are she, he, it, we, they, them. Pronouns like she, he, it, we, they, and them, and the words there are very useful words. We can use them instead of repeating nouns. Sentences with pronouns and there come after sentences with nouns. We will explain this using these sentences. Before we start with the examples, as they said that these pronouns are very important and they replace the noun and they are very useful. Now, if you have a pronoun and you want to replace a noun, the sentence with a pronoun must be after the sentence with a noun, because you have to mention the noun first and then replace it with a pronoun. Let's look at the examples. My father went to the shop on the corner. He bought a magazine there. As you can see in this sentence, we use the pronoun he to replace father. So the sentence with the pronoun came after the sentence with a noun. The same thing here for the word there. We use the word there instead of shop. So the word there replaced the noun shop. Let's take another example. The cat ran up the tree. It got stuck there. As you can see, we use the pronoun it to replace cat, and we use there to replace tree. And as we said, that the sentence with the pronoun always comes after the sentence with the noun to be replaced. Let's look at the last example. The boys played in the park. They loved it there. They replaced boys. There replaced park. As we said again, the sentence with the pronoun replaces the sentence with the noun that we want to replace. Very good. Question C. Listen and check your answers. Then listen to the complete stories. This question is about the stories that we fixed. You can listen to them, or you can go to the page in the back of the book and read them. Let's move on to the vocabulary tip. Vocabulary tip: understanding meaning from context. To die means to stop living. Example: Zaid was very sad when his grandfather died. One of the girls wrote in her story, "I nearly died." What do you think it means? Does it mean that she actually dies? Very good. It doesn't mean like that, but it means that she was so embarrassed that she nearly died. You know what black means, and you know what eye means. But what is a black eye, and how do you get one? As we said in the story, a black eye comes when you bump into something with your eye. Very good. Now let's go to question D. Question D. Now do exercises A to F on pages 9, 10, and 11 of the workbook. Let's go to pages 9, 10, and 11 on the workbook and start working on them. The workbook, page 9, lesson 5, embarrassing moments. Question A. Write the sentences in your notebook with the correct punctuation. Number 1. In our classroom, the teacher's table is in front of the board. What do you think we changed in this sentence? Very good. As a start, we have a capital I here in the word "and" because it's in the beginning of the sentence. And we have, yes, an apostrophe here. You can put it on the S, before the S. It's used for possessive S. Very good. And in the end, we use a full stop. Very good. Now you have to write these in your notebook. The whole sentence with the punctuation. Let's move on to number 2. Most teachers stay in the teacher's room in the break. What do you think the correct punctuation could be? Very good. As a start, we use a capital M here. And very good. Because he's talking about teachers, the plural form, we use an apostrophe here. And it has to be after the S, in which the possessive S is talking about a plural word. Very good. And in the end of the sentence, we use a full stop. Good job. Let's move on. Number 3. Yesterday, 4 animals escaped from the lion's cage in the zoo. What do we change? Good job. First, we put a capital Y here. What else? Very good. After the lions, we use an apostrophe, and it has to be after the S. So we are talking about a possessive S and a plural S at the same time. And in the end of the sentence, we use a full stop. Good job. Let's move on to question B. Question B. Study the writing tip. Write the question and answer below with the correct punctuation. Writing tip. Punctuation. Speech marks. When we report what people asked or said, we have to use speech marks. Example, Mike said, "I'm a good photographer." "I'm a good photographer," Mike said. Examples, Mike said, "I'm a good photographer." "I'm a good photographer," Mike said. Look at the commas in both sentences. Look at this example. Why is there no comma? Is Rajab good at writing stories? I asked. Now for the first two examples, look at the commas that we used. This is a comma. Very good. Here we used speech marks. Same thing here. And we used a full stop. But in this one we have a question, so we didn't use a comma. Now let's look at the examples that we have down. We have two questions. "Are you coming to the beach?" my brother asked. "I can't," I answered. "I have to write an article." Now we have to change these two sentences or questions using the right punctuation. Now how do we do this? We will do it together. For number one, we put an apostrophe in the beginning and we write "Are you coming to the beach?" And then we put another apostrophe and we say "My brother asked." Very good. "Are you coming to the beach?" We used two speech marks here and here, and then we said, "My brother asked." Let's look at number two. "I can't," I answered. "I have to write an article." How do we change this? We start with the first one, putting the apostrophe or for the speech mark, and then I write "I can't." I answered. And then we put a full stop, speech mark. I have to write an article. Very good. And then full stop, speech mark. Very good. This is how you change these sentences using the full punctuations. Very good. Now let's move on to question C. In question C, find these words in the stories on page 15 of your course book. Choose the correct meaning. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 words, and you have 3 options for each word. Let's start with word number 1. embarrassed, embarrassed. Which one do you think it is? A. To feel tired, to feel tired. B. To feel shy and silly, to feel shy and silly. C. To feel ill. Which one do you think it is? Very good. B. To feel shy and silly. Good job. Number 2. Spilled, spilled. A. Made untidy. B. Made a liquid flow out. C. Made coffee hot. Which one do you think it is? Very good. Make a liquid flow out. Good job. Now, number 3. Mug, mug. A. A big cup. B. A big plate. C. A big bottle. Which one do you think it is? Very good. A big cup. Good job. Number 4. Mirror, mirror. A. An old car. B. A wall. C. Glass you can see yourself in. Which one do you think it is? Good job. C. Glass you can see yourself in. Now let's go to page 10. Question D. Write one of the stories on page 15 of your course book. In this question, you're gonna take the stories on page 15 and write them here. You have to read the writing tip before you start. This writing tip is talking about paragraphs. This is a very short story, so it needs only one paragraph. In paragraphs, sentences follow each other. They do not begin on new lines. When you finish, check your punctuation. Now in this space here, you're gonna write the story, and then when you finish, you're gonna give it to the teacher so he can check it out. Now let's move on to question E. E. Write a paragraph about your most embarrassing moment. First, write a draft in your notebook. Next, edit your draft. Correct it and make it better. Then, write your story again here. Now for the draft and editing the draft and correcting it, it's better to do it outside. Don't do it in this paper. When you finish all of these steps, do the last step, which is writing the story again here, and then show it to your teacher. If you need any help with this question, you can ask your teacher to help you with. Let's move on to question F. F. Read your stories aloud, then choose the best to put in the school magazine. Use the language in the boxes. Asking for opinions. What do you think of Ali's, Nora's story? Which story is the best? When you give your opinion, you have to know these words. Giving opinions. I think that his, her story is the best, funniest, most interesting, most embarrassing. Now you can use these words to give an opinion about these stories. Make sure to give your opinion and show it to your teacher. Thank you for watching. See you next time.